Welcome back, fan stands, to the semifinals match of our Season 9 Super Open. We've got Bant Fliers played by Matt. They've got a ton of evasive creatures and ways to tap down the opponent. They're just going to keep beating in and grow big with equipment. Meanwhile, from the other side, we've got Jeskai control played by Jonah. Classic, just can't stay away from the archetype, and this one looks good here. We have a lot of great early removal, ways to get incremental advantage, and we even have 2 Moxen. Let's take a look at game 1. Alright, we've got Matt on the left with the Bant mid-range Flyers. On the right, you've got Jonah's Jeskai control. Matt's going to be mulliganing down to 6 here. Looks like we have a ton of blue spells, but no blue mana. Hopefully that's not too much of a problem going ahead. But mulliganing down, especially in limited, is particularly brutal. Cards mean so much. And so going to 5 just for blue isn't what we're going to do. We hit another blue spell, but thankfully we can actually pay life for this one. Spinethopter is a 2/1 flyer. But we're really going to want to hit a third land. Jonah goes for Desert of the Mindful, developing so that they can play their 3s into 4s. Matt missing that third land drop, drawing additional blue spells. At this point, could just F6 and only really look until they get a blue land. Look when they get a blue land. And we have Eternal of Harsh Truths for Jonah. This is really going to punish Matt. We'll just get the cards flowing. Eternal is a 1/3 pygmy that draws a card whenever it deals combat damage and has afflict too. So if you try to just chump it to stop that card draw, you're still going to be taking damage. Jonah now has access to all their colors, but we're going to play this tap land because we can bolt down the Spinethopter. And Matt continuing to be land screwed. Jonah just pulling so far ahead in cards. And going to continue to do so with this Narset Part of Veils. Holding up red. I think we have Lightning Bolt in the mix. So if we find it, we can still deploy it. Psionic Blast, Mox, Sapphire, Teferi. And can't quite see what that last card is. But a plethora of choices. Going to take Teferi. Going to keep the cards flowing, even if Matt does get something down like that Alloy Mirror, to potentially make any land work as a blue source. It's not going to work out. Law Rune Enforcer. Guy on a stick. Guy with a stick. This can really stop Jonah's plan to continue getting cards. But again, we can still just bounce this with the Teferi. And I think it's going to be really hard for Matt to come back from this. At the same time, Jonah isn't really applying a ton of pressure. So we've got that going for Matt. But I think we have 9 cards in hand for Jonah. Gonna need to dump a few things out. And this Flux Channeler is going to mean that the Planeswalkers are just gonna get even more value. Might have to discard to hand size at this point. And yeah, Matt not drawing any more lands is gonna pack it up. Jonah taking game 1. Alright, here in game 2, maybe we'll have little bit of better mana on both sides. Matt going to be able to take the play this time. And here we go. We've already got all three colors, Tropical Island and Plains. And we're even looking prettier with this Paradise Druid. Don't have a third land, but do have this Paradise Druid. Jonah, access to red and white. We've got the crack land can tap for Simic colors if you crack it. Though that would be a one-time effect of the blue mana. Go for a swords, realizing that Matt's passing the turn without a land drop. Oh, never mind. Yeah, you could go for the Even Eternal because it's evasive damage every turn, but I think getting rid of the Mana Dork is pretty good here. We have Interplanar Beacon. Taps for 2 mana to cast Sahili. I guess that's why we were thinking about keeping the Druid alive, because we can just muck up the ground with Sahili tokens, Sahili servos. Sahili go into 2, Lauren Enforcer. Another mountain means that Jonah still doesn't really have access to blue mana. I know that they run a lot of cantrips and card draw spells in that color, so this is maybe a little rough, but ooh, Windborn Muse when Matt's stumbling on mana, having to pay 2 for every creature is nuts. We've got Lotus Veil, so now Matt has mana fixed for the rest of the game, so long as there's not multicolored spells. Ooh, but Kazmina's Transmutation is going to get rid of the abilities on Windborn Muse so that Matt can take out the Sahili. It's probably one of the best answers Matt could have had at that point. Now, if Jonah has a Factor Fiction or something, they can crack their land to use a blue as a one-time effect. Maybe dig to get a more stable blue source. But it looks like we're going to go for a Narset. Problem with Narset is that you can't actually use Interplanar Beacon for that. As the beacon makes mana of 2 different colors. So Jonah would have to sacrifice this land to do it. Problem with that is if Narset goes a digging, she can't find a land. I mean, we do have Mox Sapphire in the list, so I mean that's something we could be digging towards. But this is a really big choice we need to make, and yeah, Jonah's gonna bank on finding the Mox Sapphire. Ooh, and it looks like we might have whiffed entirely. Not what you want to see. And yeah. This has been a match of mana struggles. But with Matt being a little bit more lower to the ground. It's kind of fine to do so. We've got 3 going at Narset, 1 at Jonah's dome. And just a pass of the turn. Except not flashing Nimble Obstructionist. Now we have an actual clock, 5 in the air, plus the Enforcer that can push extra on the ground. This Tezzeret's Gambit not only helping us find our additional land drops, but pumping up the army. And yeah, we're safe to attack through. No need to tap down. Jonah hitting yet another mountain. Absolutely brutal. And swinging in for another 8. If we can get rid of the Casmania's Transmutation, maybe that'll help. So we're not going to block at this time. Hey, we finally hit our blue. Bond of Insight. Let's both draw. Yeah, and there's more blue mana. And yeah, Jonah picks it up, revealing the 4 cards that would have been milled. Information being important at this juncture. All right. Game 3 of the semis. Jonah yet again looking at a hand without blue mana, but we do have the Hour of Devastation that we can cast to maybe stabilize a board. So, and we can do that likely on turn 4 with this Mox. Slower format. This could work out. Still understandably hesitant to want to keep it. Oh, ooh, and especially when we're on a mull. Yeah, we're really banking on drawing a blue land. And Matt leading off with a Spellskite. Jonah not hitting the extra lands. Matt on the mono blue plan, but this Alloy Mirror really gonna help. Ooh, and this Lotus Veil also really gonna help. We can Blade Splicer it up maybe. Or Winged Splicer. Attack for 2. Jonah hitting another land. We're soon to wipe. And this Chandra is gonna maybe help us get to extra lands. Exiling the desert when you can't play it a little feels bad. But oh wow. Sword of War and Peace, protection from red and white. And we're equipping it onto the Winged Mirror. Attacking in for 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we have a trigger on the War of Peace. Matt will gain 3 and Jonah has 5 cards in hand, so they'll lose an additional 5. We'll do an impulse draw of this owl, a blue card we can't play. Looks like we have Volt Charge and a Braid in hand. But this protection from red being absolutely brutal. Not only could we not deal the damage board wipe because the Golem has protection from red, it won't die, but we can't even abrade the sword and then Volt Charge the Golem because Spellskite would just redirect the damage. Matt's card's just lining up perfectly up against Jonah there. And along with some mana troubles, that lets Matt win the game. and they move on to the finals.